Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to show you what I'm doing for my third Madden playthrough of Fire Emblem Engage. So basically, I'm only using male units, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. Like, the supports are much better just between the male units. I don't know what it is, but they're more emotional, they're more funnier, they're just overall more entertaining. So I'm actually really enjoying the supports. Ironically, usually the supports I usually get, if it starts to bore me, I'll kind of just go through them pretty fast. But these ones I've actually been reading and watching the whole of them. Like, for example, between Alchrist and Diamond, I really like their C support. That was a really good one to start. And another thing different I'm doing is I'm playing it in Japanese this time. So the thing I'm going for is sort of like a sports anime type of vibe. And I have to say the voice acting for the male voice actors in Japanese are actually very good. I'm actually liking them a lot, especially like Boucheron. I really like Boucheron. I don't know, in English, Boucheron sounds kind of dopey, but in Japanese, he sounds like a total badass. I'm not 100% sure if I'll like it in the end because, I'm still trying to get a feel for what Boucheron's character is like. I mean, I have a general idea of what it's like. Like, he has muscles and he's kind of like a softie and he likes books and stuff. But, obviously as I see more supports, I'll get a better idea for what Boucheron is. And then I'll kind of make a decision on whether I think the English or the Japanese voice acting is better. Yeah, just liking all of the voice acting. Like Lewis, Gene. I like Gene better just because like he doesn't have that ridiculous British accent in English. He actually sounds normal, I guess, in Japanese. Alchrist is less annoying. I actually like Alchrist more in Japanese. Diamond is great as well. Amber is great. Clan is about the same in both. I think he's good in both. I might prefer him in English, to be honest. And Alfred, he sounds a little less happy-go-lucky in Japanese. He sounds a little bit more badass in Japanese. So I actually think the English actually fits Alfred a little bit better. But I still like the Alfred. It's like it's kind of like a different version of Alfred. If you thought Alfred was a little too dopey or happy-go-lucky in English, so you might prefer it in Japanese. I also prefer Alir in Japanese as well. He just sounds more like confident and badass, whereas in English, he sounded very wimpy and very not confident. He sounded like an Alchrist, basically, in English. So yeah, I'm actually liking Alir, male Alir in Japanese. And what I'm doing for this playthrough is, like I said, I'm just using only male units. One thing I really noticed is that I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like the male units have more strength than the female units. Now, I'm not trying to be sexist about that, but it just seems to be the case. Like, overall, their strength is just higher across the board because, like, I've been using mainly physical weapons. I only have clan here using magic right now, and I'm actually gonna class clan into a hero later once I get more second seals and more master seals. But I've noticed just like across the board, like their physical damage is quite high, and like I'm actually been having a really easy time with this playthrough. Like, I think it's partially like I'm playing even better. Like, I mean, this is my third playthrough already, so I already like getting better at the game. But I also think the male unit strength is just actually bigger across the board than female units, and I think that's also the case because like female units have higher magic compared to male units, so that might be something as well. Another thing I noticed is that the male units actually can't class into the flyer class. So like you can see here, like if I try to class here and you try to go into a base flyer right away, male units actually can't be flyers, and that makes sense because like across other Fire Emblem games, Pegasus Knights only let females ride them, so that's why only females can become Pegasus Knights. But it's just interesting that you can't really go, Pegasus Knight, which is a prerequisite to Wyvern Knight and Griffin Knight. But that's not the end of the world because what you can do is once you get to level 10, you just advance class into the natural advanced class that the unit can go into. So for example, like Alir, once he gets level 10, he can advanced class into Divine Dragon, and then you can immediately use the second seal right after that to go into Griffin Knight and Wyvern Knight, right? So I think that's how you would get to a flyer class from a male as a male unit. One interesting thing I found too was that Rosado, like I don't know if this I'm looking too deep into this, but like Rosado is like really the only natural flyer, I believe, out of all of the male units. So, and I find it's kind of funny that he kind of dresses up like a girl. So it's like maybe maybe he tricked his Pegasus knight or his Pegasus that he was a girl at one point or something. I'm just speculating. Just mostly, going through the game, just pretty standard stuff. Like I tried to get as many units into advanced class as possible. The 3 units I was able to get to advanced class quickly were Alfred, Boucheron, and Lewis. And yeah, I actually changed up their weapons. So like, one thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use different classes. So like, obviously Alfred goes into Avenir class, right? So once I got to level 10, I classed him to Avenir, and then right after that, I immediately used the second seal and switched him to Halberdier. And yeah, he's actually doing pretty good as Halberdier. I mean, nothing too much to really note right now. I like the outfit. The outfit looks really nice. And, he's still playing sort of like Avenir. I mean, he still has Sigurd on him. I'm going to lose him after this chapter, right? This is chapter 10. Boucheron, I turned into a general. And he's, the reason I'm doing that is because I think I looked at the growths of Boucheron. He has high dex and high defense, I believe, and high HP. So I'm going to probably try do Wrath strats, maybe Wrath Vantage strats, or well, we'll see how it goes, but I definitely wanted him to go into a general here. And Lewis, I actually changed him to a berserker. He has quite high strength, and yeah, I just kind of want to see how he does as a berserker. And I think it's kind of funny that he has his eyes closed, but he's still a berserker. So I thought that's actually kind of funny. Alcris I never used before, so I'm probably just gonna keep him as Tour de Elite, and then Diamant. What I'll probably do for him is I'm going to switch him into a Swordmaster because I already used his successor special class, so I'm not going to do that again. I'll probably just do a Swordmaster, see how it goes as Swordmaster. Amber, not sure what to do here. I did use him as Paladin in my first playthrough, and he's super strong. He's like one of the strongest units in the game, like from strength, like his strength stat, the strength growth. So yeah, that's what I got here. I will be a bit pressed for mages and magic units because, like I said earlier, most of the male units don't have that good magic. I think what's his name, the Solm dude, never used him. Mara's brother, I'll just call him that. I forgot his name. Oh yeah, Fogado. Fogado I think has some pretty good magic growth, so maybe we can put him into a Mage Knight or something like that. And for Alir, I'm probably going to turn him to a flyer, probably like either a Wyvern Knight or a Griffin Knight. I think I want to turn Rosado into a Griffin Knight because I think he would look more prettier or more cuter as a Griffin Knight. I don't know. So maybe I'll turn Alir into a Wyvern Knight if that's the case. Yeah, I want to try to use flyer classes a little bit more. I usually ignore fire classes. I feel like fire classes they're not that overpowered and they're not really needed in this game. So like in my previous guides, I always recommend maybe just having like one flyer. I think it's more than enough. So we'll see how we do with 2 flyers. I think it'll still be fine, to be honest. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for this playthrough. And it's interesting because like I have skills that probably won't be used, like Admiration on Lewis, because there's no female units that I'm going to be using. Like this is essentially useless, which is funny. So yeah, for this playthrough, I think the strength aspect and like physical damage is going to be more than enough for the playthrough, but I think it's going to be a real challenge to see how I can get magic damage, and might have to get a little creative on getting magic damage because, like I said, Clan, I am turning him into a hero. I think he'll look pretty cool as a hero, and the male units just have lower magic, so it might be a bit sketch, but it should be an interesting playthrough. And like I said, right now I'm having a lot of fun. Like they're kind of just overpowering everyone with all the weapons that I have equipped with them and just their high strength. Like I think I'm a little bit more efficient with my weapon upgrading now. So I have Liberation +5. I have, I have the emblems on the weapons that I know I'm going to use. So for example, Liberation, Fighter's Bane, Poleaxe, I'm upgrading it, but I don't have an emblem on it yet. Boucheron Hammer with the Leaf emblem, Longbow with the Roy emblem, Armor Slayer's upgraded, but don't have an emblem on it yet. And we're starting to upgrade the Killer Lance as well. So I'm really optimizing more the weapon upgrade paths and how I'm getting my weapons, because in my previous playthroughs there's usually some waste associated with my weapon upgrades. For example, like I would upgrade like a hand axe and end up not using the hand axe later on. So I'm really studying weapon upgrade paths a little bit more and optimizing that. I think that's also partially why I'm having a much easier time in this playthrough. Like I have not experienced any difficulty whatsoever, even though this is mapping. Yeah, so that's pretty much my first take on this team right now. This is already like 9 units, so the final battle is 14 units, so space is going to be pretty tight, even though we are only using male units. So I might have to drop Vander for this, just because I kind of want to use other units a little more. I still have to do a playthrough with Vander and try and use them somehow, but Vander unfortunately might have to sit out for this playthrough, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, like I said, really excited for this playthrough. It's been really fun so far, and just the combination of gameplay and just like really focusing on physical aspects and physical gameplay, like the weapon triangle and effective weaponry like Rider's Bane and Hammer and the poleaxe and all those weapons. It really feels like a totally different playthrough. And combine that with the Japanese voice actors, like the whole sports team vibe, anime vibe, and the sports are really nice too. Like the supports are like straight out of like a sports anime, I would say. But anyways, having a really fun time. Feel free to subscribe if you want more updates on how this team goes. I think this one's going to be pretty cracked as well. So hope you enjoyed that video, and thanks for watching.